Well, hello again. Here we find ourselves at another Fireside chat. And barring any significant or dramatic changes, this is the last Fireside chat that I'll be doing for hopefully quite some time. Hopefully, it will be many years before we ever find ourselves in a situation like this again, if we ever have to at all. Um, and the reason for that is starting this week, that is May the 26th, depending on when you're watching this, in the Diocese of Columbus, we are returning, if parishes are able to do so, and thankfully we are, we're returning to the public celebration of Mass. And this upcoming weekend, May the 30th and 31st, we will be returning to weekend celebrations of Mass. So our Sunday gathering for the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass, for our communal worship of God. And part of me wants to spend all day today just talking about how amazing that is, and how, today is the Feast of the Ascension, and how that's about our hope and Jesus Christ making good on his promise and bringing our humanity back with him to heaven, and how next weekend when we gather will be Pentecost, and how almost like the apostles, we will be coming out from our seclusion and going back out into the world as Christians. And it's all fitting, and it all comes perfectly together, and there's something very exciting about that. But I think more importantly, for me today, is to say, as great as it is that we are coming back to Mass, you don't have to. You don't have to come back to Mass this week. You don't have to be there this next weekend on the Feast of Pentecost. Our Bishop Brennan has dispensed us from the obligation to go to Mass until September 13th. And that is an incredibly important thing. As much as we all desire to return to normal, as much as we all wish everything was exactly the way that it was, 3 months ago, before any of our lives were kind of all altered because of everything that's been going on, the reality is it isn't normal. We aren't back to being exactly how it was before. Many of you hopefully received a letter this week from the parish where I outlined how it is still going to be different. And we need to recognize that in our own lives, it's still different. We still need to be taking precautions. We still need to be acting very prudently. And when we're faced with difficult times, and the need to exercise the virtue of prudence, sometimes that means making difficult decisions. Sometimes it means making the decision that you don't want to make, where if anything could be different, you would make a very different choice. But we live in the reality of the times that we live in. And the reality is that for many of us, it may not be safe. It may not be safe for yourself. It may not be safe for others for you to choose to come to Mass. So it's okay if you don't. And this will probably be, I hope and pray, the only time ever in my life as a priest that I am putting out a message telling my faithful that it's okay for you to not go to Mass. But right now it is. And until September, it is. And it's up to us, each one of us, to make that prudent decision based on our health, based on the best information that we have, based on the people that we come into contact with in our lives. You may be in perfectly good health, but if you know that you're going to be seeing, maybe an aged parent or neighbor, or your line of work puts you into contact with people who are in high-risk categories, returning to a public celebration of Mass may not be the prudent and smart thing to do at this time. Every parish is rolling this out a little bit differently, and we may have seen, news articles, or even just heard from friends or family about how their parish is ticketing, or is, severely limiting the numbers, or is making Mass by appointment only, or any of those sorts of things. I don't think we need to do that at St. John the 23rd, and I don't think we need to for a variety of reasons. But the most important reason is that I know that we will all act prudently as we return to Mass. That we will not just simply say, well, now that I can do this again, I'm going to. That, I'm a Catholic, I go to Mass, it's what I do. Well, you're right, it is what we do. But the time that we are in right now demands that instead of just exercising any liberty that we have received, right? Like now we are able to return to Mass. We first have to ask ourselves, is this the charitable thing to do? Is this the best way for me to exercise the freedom that Christ has given me? Because we've been given freedom from our bishop. Freedom to say, I don't have to go to Mass if it's not the safe and good thing for me to do. And so while I'm very excited and I can't wait to see many of you again, I also understand that for some of you it will still be a while, and that's fine. And we're setting up things in the parish for me to come bring the communion to you, to do as much as we can to still allow you to participate in the sacramental life of the parish, while the most important thing remains making sure as many people as possible are safe and are taken care of. Please keep up to date on the website. That's where all of our information will be. If you want the correct up-to-date information, it will be on the parish website. Again, I continue to pray for our parish and for each of you every single day. This has been a crazy time, and it will continue to be a crazy time. But Jesus Christ, who has already won every victory, will see us through. May God bless you.